Is Lauren Boebert vaping?
On November 5th, your worst nightmare tries to claw her way back to Congress. Don't say her name.
Congresswoman Boebert, I know you're new to the district, and you clearly don't know how to act in a theater or in Congress. I think I can help. Let's get together for a debate on TV. I'll tell you what keeps your new neighbors up at night. It shouldn't be whatever this is. I know the last time you were arguing in a theater, it was with workers. And hey, maybe you won't get kicked out this time. You're not scared, are you?
It's the weekend, so let's check in with our friend Lauren Boebert. The news cycle has gotten away from her lately, and maybe that's a good thing. The news hadn't been too kind to her over the past few months, but for the first time in a long time, she seems to have a fighting chance at keeping her congressional seat. She had to do an unbelievable amount of maneuvering to do it, but at this point in American politics, anything can happen. But now it's debate season. As we get closer to November, the voters need to hear directly from the candidates they'll be voting for, and Boebert's Democratic opponent has the perfect place for the debate. Trisha Calvarese posted this on X along with the ad you just saw, saying, "Hey Lauren Boebert, let's get together for a televised debate. Maybe the Buell Theater would be a good venue? Or have you been permanently banned from there?" Just to point out a few things that you might have missed, the ad featured Beetlejuice-themed popcorn bags. Also, there was a puff of vape smoke on the preview screen and a warning that the following ad features vaping on pregnant women and abusing staff. The ad does in fact feature video footage and images of Boebert vaping in the theater and flipping off staff members, and Calvarese reminds voters that Boebert is new to their district. So the ad does a few good things politically speaking. The incident at the theater was maybe the one thing that hurt Boebert's re-election chances more than anything. Sometimes you really don't know what the final straw is going to be for people, but for her, it was that. It makes sense for her opponent to now remind people of how terrible that incident really was. For one, voters did not like the blatant disrespect she showed to the performers, the audience members, and the theater staff. She shows a similar lack of respect and decorum on the actual congressional floor, but for some reason, these theater antics were surprising and upsetting for her constituents. The incident also demonstrated Boebert's lack of family values, as she didn't care that she was vaping and behaving inappropriately in a public venue where pregnant women and children were present. Again, I'm not sure why her lack of family values were surprising for people. It really seems to be a case where there's all of this evidence and action telling you one thing, but as long as Boebert comes out and says, "I champion strong family values," all of the evidence negating that statement doesn't matter.
I'm not defined by what the media says. I'm not defined by Nancy Pelosi calling me the enemy within. I'm not defined by calling a racist or a bigot or an insurrectionist. I'm not defined by their made-up terms that mean nothing to me. I've been bought and purchased by the blood of Jesus, and that is what defines me.
It's like when Trump supporters tell you that he doesn't have anything to do with Project 2025 because he said he doesn't. Sure, Jan. When Boebert first announced her candidacy in her new district, she tried to make light of the situation, joking that people already know who she is, so she doesn't have to ask if they do. This was, of course, in reference to the fact that while she was being kicked out of the theater, she repeatedly asked the ushers, "Do you know who I am?" before flipping them off.
Lauren Boebert.
Awesome. Well, thank you all so much for having me here tonight. It's an honor to be with you all. Many of you know who I am. I don't have to ask like the ushers at the Buell Theater. But it's such an honor to represent Colorado as a whole. I've been fighting for our state for several years now.
Of all the things that happened during the incident, that's arguably one of the worst things that she did. Arguably. So it's weird that she would choose that specific point to make a joke out of. The rest of it can be chalked up to immaturity or bad judgment or disrespect, etc. People could potentially find a way to forgive that stuff. But asking people if they know who you are is entitled, arrogant, and incredibly unlikable. It says a lot about the person asking. Even Reese Witherspoon couldn't get away with behavior like that. For a public servant, it makes you wonder, why does she even want this job? Is it because she really wants to serve the people of Colorado, or does she just want the clout? I mean, we know which one it is, But elected officials are at least supposed to pretend that it's the former and not the latter, especially when they're up for re-election. Other than that, Boebert is up to her usual. She's raging on social media, calling Kamala Harris a Marxist, claiming Trump is being persecuted, the usual. It's never anything new for these people. Their talking points get old very quickly because they never talk about actual problems and solutions. They're not big thinkers and their motives are not genuine. The only thing that they put actual thought into are how to win elections and enrich themselves with their positions of power. It's sort of an unfortunate and innate reality of our political system. Being good at winning elections and being good at governing are two different things. Campaigning is a skill set, and running a good campaign doesn't necessarily mean a candidate will be effective if and when they win the race. Conversely, someone could be an amazing fit for a role, but just can't seem to convince people to let them do the job. You could probably say the same thing about most jobs, especially in these days of social media. You have to be good at your chosen art form or skill set, but you also have to be great at marketing and self-promotion. Boebert knows how to be loud and bombastic. She knows how to grab headlines and say all the right things to appeal to a very specific group of people. She's good at campaigning. But her record in Congress is against her. In fact, her record in Congress is nearly non-existent. Maybe the voters of Colorado will see that, realize they deserve better, not vote for her, and not subject the rest of us to her antics. Or maybe the voters in this deeply red district will just vote for her anyway. All right, that's it for me. If you got anything out of this, please like the video and subscribe to the channel for more. Thanks.